Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Itoro Umontuen, the digital managing editor at the Atlanta Voice, and we have a special guest in the building today. So tell us who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
I am Jasmine Fambro. I am an Atlanta native. Well, let me say Lithonia because surrounding areas. I am a children's book author now. This is my book, Mason's Big Little Feelings, and it was written inspired by my son, Mason. He is the main character, which I think is always important to note because I'm a BIPOC author. This is a BIPOC main character, and that's why I really wanted to write this book so that my son can see himself in illustration. My son can see himself and understand that his feelings, all feelings, are accepted. So here to talk about it.
Awesome. So tell me about, how did you ultimately arrive at this point to where you felt compelled, okay, I got to write this book, not just for, a tribute to your son, but also for the other young folks that, could also benefit from the book.
Mm-hmm. So there are two things that kind of sparked it. One, I feel like when I became a mom, I started to understand myself in a new nature. Everything that I did was a push for my son, and everything that I wanted and inspired for myself, I knew that I had to push for to do it because I have also someone, watching me. That's piece one. Second, I have a master's in clinical mental health counseling, and in going through the program, we have to do our own unpacking of our own feelings and go to therapy ourselves. And I think it's in that moment is where I started to shed a lot of things from my past and kind of heal through things. And even in the internship that I did, my internship was at a juvenile detention center. And so it was counseling and doing therapy with these young boys where I'm just like, there has to be something to help with their emotions and understanding, helping them to clarify what those feelings are. And that experience, I don't practice right now, but that experience really changed me forever. And then now that I have my own son, I have to do better for the next generation and assist in that.
Absolutely. I know we talk about mental health all the time. I think now it's generally accepted, if you need to take time for yourself and get your mind, your body, and spirit together, go do that. Mm-hmm. I know clearly it was not like that when we were growing up.
Right.
How do you believe, or in what ways do you believe that we're extending this conversation forward to Mason and to the young boys and girls that are coming up? How, through this book, allowing our boys and our girls to express themselves, to have that freedom, how important is that to kind of just give them those guardrails or that ability to, just express themselves, but also understand, hey, if you've got something that you feel like you're not okay with or whatever, please feel free and talk to me.
Well, one thing that you said that rung in my head as guardrails. I want my son to feel like he doesn't have guardrails, that he's free to make mistakes, that he's free to explore. And so and then I think also it's important that in this new space where it is, therapy is okay and therapy is important and people are realizing that, I think it's important to continue that dialogue and that conversation because that is what makes it okay for the younger ones because it was naturally introduced to them. It wasn't something that if you go to therapy, you're crazy. If you're there's everyone is healing with therapy and it's not that something's wrong with you for it. I think also with my book, it's important that, and I'll show you on the back, it's important that we're understanding how to deal with those particular emotions. And so what I did, hence I'm happy that I was able to use my degree in some sense. But you have when people are like, oh my God, this person's angry or they're exhibiting these type of behaviors, and anger is a surface emotion. There's things that are underlying that you're kind of needing to unpack. And so on the back of the book to help the dialogue with the parents as well, because it's not just about the kids. I feel like parents can learn from this book as well. But there is a core emotion key on the back, and it's going to break down what that core emotion is, whether it's anger, happiness, surprise, sadness, empowered, or fear. And so it's an ABC book, so I'm going from ages 0 to 5. ABC, I feel like those that are learning the alphabet, that will cater to them. Like, you're going to open the book and you're going to see the letters. So that's going to appeal to them. A, B, for our young readers that can actually go through this. I love the fact that Mason, when I was drafting the book, he was able to do the letters, but now at 4, he's able to actually read the words on the page. So this book's growing with him. And then also, when I was speaking about the core emotions, this is for the parent. So it's labeled here in green, blue. So for example, amazed, you're gonna get the letter A for a child, the little vignette here, the label that's going to identify what that core emotion is on the back. So it's kind of teaching an adult as well what that core emotion is and how that may show up and how you're moving through all of these different emotions, and that all feelings are okay.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the Sponsor a Classroom initiative that I noticed you got started. You know, how did that come about? What was the inspiration? And what are you seeking to accomplish with it?
As I'm a businesswoman first, so I am selling the book at makeroomformason.com, but I think it's important to recognize this as a resource. And so I wanted it to be in classrooms. I wanted it to be accessible to people that may not have necessarily just see it on my website. So you can sponsor a classroom. And in that, I will it depends on the level of sponsorship that you purchase, but even in the lowest, 25 kids, or if there are more, we can, have that dialogue, but 25 children will receive this book to be able to take home with them as a resource through their school. You're donating to that classroom. This book also has a Library of Congress number, so that means it may be cataloged in any library across the U.S., and I think that's important as well, because if you're donating to a library, that's an option. If you're not doing a classroom, you're donating to a library, this will go specifically to a branch in your county. Georgia, I'm saying county, but it can go anywhere across the U.S. So I think that's important, that it's getting integrated into our schools, into the libraries, and it will become, I'm speaking this into existence, it will become a resource that's really going to help our youth.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you for stopping by today. Really, 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 really appreciate it. I won't say final question, because, we can go in many different directions, but I just wanted to talk to you about, we were talking earlier before we got started about the spaces and places where we can be authentically ourselves. In the world of education, in the world of mental health, how do you try and make sure that we make, throughout the spectrum, if you will, we make sure that we create spaces that, not just for our sons and daughters, but also globally throughout the education system, where we do have the opportunities for our Black boys and our Black girls to be themselves, and also give themselves the opportunity to grow and explore and learn about themselves without the extra added pressure that we get in the society.
That one kind of hits home, because I actually went to school, and I was not, I was a minority, of course, in a private school. And it's like, I felt like I couldn't show up as myself. And understanding how you're having to wear 2 hats, even as young as a child, I feel like I wish that I had that when I was younger, where I felt comfortable showing up as my authentic self. And I felt comfortable having to be different than what my skin is to say that I'm supposed to be like. I think that that's important, to accept that who I feel like I am at my core. So I feel like even in this being something that I wish that I had, I think that's one push that I have to, making sure that others feel accepted. And again, I say that often, but I am a BIPOC author. This is a BIPOC book, and representation matters. And it's important to see yourself in a main character. When I was younger, I don't remember many books where I saw myself in the literature. So I think that this is shedding way and making space, making room for Mason. That's the LLC of it, make room for Mason. But that was the overall goal.
Good deal. So if anyone wants to find you on social media, website, if they're in Atlanta, since we are in Atlanta and we are the Atlanta Voice, of course, where can they find the book? Where can they find the book? Where can they purchase the book? And also, how can they connect with you on a deeper level?
It's going to be really easy right here. www.makeroomformason.com. Instagram is makeroomformason. And my email, makeroomformason@gmail.com.
That's simple enough, everybody. That's Jasmine Fambro, and this is the Atlanta Voice.